Hello, this is Rabbi Genack, and we are going to continue our study of the halachos of Teshuva in the Rambam. Today we are going to study a few lines from the Rambam's second parak in Hilchot Teshuva. I'll be learning in this sefer over here, this volume, and you're welcome to follow along by clicking in the link in the description of this video and also in the email that I'll be sending out to follow along. So we're learning Parak Beis, Halacha Beis. You remember that last video was about the vidoy, when we admit that we sinned, that we did something wrong, and that's what Parak Aleph is about. But the second parak, the Rambam doesn't talk about vidoy; he talks about tshuva. And it's interesting that the Rambam first talks about admitting the vidoy, which comes after the tshuva, meaning first you correct your mistake, and then you admit it. Certainly in the Rambam's formulation, but in the organizing the halachos, he first talks about vidoy and then he talks about tshuva. So we're reading Parak Beis Halacha Beis. This is what the Rambam says. Umahi tshuva. What is tshuva? What is this repentance? Hu sheyazov achote cheto. This is the sinner leaves behind his sin. V'yasir mimachshavto. V'yasiro mimachshavto. And he removes it from his thought. V'yigmor belibo. And he decides in his heart, Shalo Yahaseu Od, that he will never do it again. And he quotes a pasuk, as the pasuk says, we read this on Som Gedalia, Shenamar, Yazov Rasha Darko, the evil person will leave behind his path. And I want to highlight two words. The Rambam said there are three things that are part of tshuva. He says, what is tshuva? It's number one, Yazov Cheto, leaving behind the sin. V'yasiru ma'achshavto, removing it from your thoughts. V'yigmar b'libo shlo ya'aseu, and deciding to never do it again. And the one I want to talk about is the second one, the yasiru ma'achshavto. What does it mean to remove it from your thoughts? What does that mean? And when you think about, to answer this question, let's think about the experience of tshuva. And there are really two ways to experience tshuva. There's a person, each of us, we've done something wrong and we decide we don't want to do it again. And we decide that despite the fact that we've done whatever that thing is in the past, we're not going to do it. So there are two different experiences one might have. One might say, I'm not going to do this. And then the next time it comes up, you say, well, I already decided I'm not going to do that again. And as you go along, you never have the temptation as strongly. You're never fighting the battle. That's experience one. I decided, and once I decided, it doesn't happen anymore. But realistically, often the temptation continues to return, and each time there's a battle. And sometimes we fall, sometimes we overcome. Hopefully the trajectory is going up, and we continue to be more successful as time goes on. But that's a completely different experience from the first person. The first person is not revisited by temptation. The second person is continually tempted and is continually fighting. And intuitively, we might think that the second one is the greater form of tshuva because there's more of a battle. But the way the Rambam seems to explain it over here, it's not those are two different experiences. Those are two stages of the same experience. And often, at the beginning, it's a struggle, but as we condition ourselves to stay away from whatever that sin is, whatever that thing is that we're focusing on. So it gets easier and easier until it's no longer a battle. It's no longer a temptation. And the Rambam says that is all part of tshuva. The progress, the process of tshuva is not one point where we make that decision and immediately tshuva is done. Tshuva is that process that goes all the way from the beginning, at the time of the struggle, until many years later, when the struggle is over and it's easy. We no longer feel the temptation. We no longer feel the pushback. That's what it means. Yasiru mimachshavto. We change our personality. We change how we look at these ideas, these actions, and that's all part of teshuva. And I think that the way the Rambam sees this is from the pasuk that he quotes. What was the pasuk? Yazov Rasha Darko. The evil one, the sinner, leaves behind his path, the derech. So we're not talking about, the Rambam says, leaving behind a specific action, and you either do it or you don't do it. No, we're talking about changing a path. We're on one path, moving to a different path. And that switch to a different path, which is gradual and not simple, That switch, that process, is all part of Teshuvah. We have to change who we are. We don't have to do it all at one time. We don't have to do it in a split second, but it's not, because it's not focused on one action. It's focused on a personality. It's focused on how we relate to specific things. And in this time, in this tshuva, we need to think about how can we change who we are in relation to the things that we want to change, in relation to the things that are not as great as they should be. And we have to be mesiram memachshavtenu. We need to remove those from our minds, from our thoughts, to switch to a different derech, to a different path, because we don't want to be the Rasha on the derech of Rishus. We all want to switch to the derech of the tzaddik on the derech of tzidkus. I wish you a Gemara Chasim B'Tova.